The week of February 11th to 17th, 2025, marked a turning point in the Ukraine conflict. This period, etched into the annals of history, saw a dramatic escalation in the intensity and scale of the fighting. The Ukrainian forces, bolstered by an influx of advanced Western military technology, launched a series of coordinated offensives that would reshape the battlefield dynamics. Ukrainian forces, armed with Western technology and fueled by unwavering resolve, demonstrated a level of coordination and strategic acumen that caught the Russian invaders off guard. The new equipment, ranging from state-of-the-art rifles to advanced missile systems, provided a significant edge in both offensive and defensive operations, unleashed a series of devastating blows against the invading Russian army. These attacks were not random acts of aggression, but meticulously planned operations aimed at crippling the enemy's ability to wage war. The precision and ferocity of the Ukrainian strikes left the Russian forces reeling, struggling to regroup and mount a coherent defense. The results were undeniable. The numbers told a stark story. In just 7 days, Ukrainian forces claimed to have destroyed 967 Russian military vehicles. This staggering figure included 88 tanks, the backbone of any armored assault, and 250 armored fighting vehicles designed to transport troops and provide fire support. These losses cut deep into Russia's ability to wage a mechanized war. Equally significant was the destruction of nearly 1,000 Russian supply vehicles. These logistical lifelines, carrying ammunition, fuel, and provisions, were essential to sustaining Russia's war effort. Drones, once the stuff of science fiction, have become indispensable tools of modern warfare. In Ukraine, they have proven particularly effective, allowing Ukrainian forces to strike with pinpoint accuracy while minimizing risks to their own troops. From Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2S to smaller, commercially available quadcopters, these unmanned aerial vehicles have become the eyes and ears of the Ukrainian military. Ukrainian soldiers and volunteers, many with backgrounds in technology and engineering, have embraced drone warfare with remarkable speed and adaptability. They have developed innovative tactics, using drones not only for reconnaissance and targeting, but also for dropping small explosives on enemy positions. The effectiveness of Ukraine's drone program was evident in the numerous examples of precision strikes carried out against Russian targets. In one instance, Ukrainian forces used long-range artillery to destroy 2 Russian infantry fighting vehicles, believed to be either BMD-4Ms or T-15S, from a distance of over 6 miles. This level of accuracy, unimaginable just a few years ago, has become increasingly common. In another incident, a Russian assault column, advancing on a Ukrainian position manned by the elite 5th Special Forces Unit, was decimated by mortar fire. The attack, guided by drone surveillance, demonstrated the deadly synergy between unmanned aerial vehicles and conventional artillery. The destruction of so many Russian supply vehicles exposed a critical weakness in Russia's war effort logistics. The logistical backbone of any military operation is crucial for its success, and the Russian forces have found themselves grappling with severe disruptions. These disruptions have not only hampered their ability to advance, but have also affected their morale and operational efficiency. Maintaining long and vulnerable supply lines has always been a challenge for armies on the move. The Russian military, despite its size and resources, is no exception. The narrow roads and the constant threat of ambushes have made the task even more daunting. The soldiers are often seen struggling to navigate these perilous routes, which are frequently targeted by Ukrainian forces. In Ukraine, this challenge has been compounded by the vast distances involved, the rugged terrain, and the fierce resistance of the Ukrainian people. The Ukrainian countryside, with its unpredictable weather and difficult terrain, has become a formidable adversary in itself. The local resistance fighters, familiar with the landscape, have used it to their advantage, launching surprise attacks and disrupting supply lines. The Kremlin's initial assumption that its forces would be welcomed as liberators proved disastrously wrong. Instead of being greeted with open arms, Russian troops faced widespread hostility and resistance. The local population's defiance has further complicated the Russian military's efforts to establish control and secure their supply routes. The mounting losses on the battlefield have forced Russia to delve deeper into its aging arsenal. As the conflict drags on, the Russian military has found itself increasingly reliant on relics from the Soviet era. These vehicles, once considered obsolete and relegated to the annals of history, are now being dusted off and sent back into the fray. The sight of these old machines, with their dated technology and worn-out parts, is a stark reminder of the desperate measures being taken. Soviet-era tanks, once relegated to museums and military parades, have been pulled from storage and pressed into service. These tanks, which were once symbols of Soviet might, are now being used in a modern conflict, highlighting the stark contrast between past and present. The logistical challenges of maintaining and operating these old machines are immense, yet they are being deployed in significant numbers. These outdated vehicles, lacking the armor and firepower of their modern counterparts, have proven easy prey for Ukrainian forces armed with Western anti-tank weapons. The battlefield is littered with the remnants of these once proud machines, now reduced to twisted metal and charred remains. The effectiveness of modern anti-tank weaponry against these relics underscores the technological gap that Russia is struggling to bridge. Even more telling has been the appearance of civilian vehicles, such as Lada cars and Chinese-made all-terrain vehicles in the Russian ranks. These vehicles, never designed for the rigors of combat, are being pressed into service out of sheer necessity. The use of civilian cars in military operations is a clear indication of the dire straits in which the Russian military finds itself. It speaks volumes about the resourcefulness and desperation of the forces on the ground. This improvisation, born of desperation, underscores the severity of Russia's equipment shortage and its inability to replace its losses at a sustainable rate. The makeshift nature of these vehicles, often hastily modified for combat, highlights the challenges faced by the Russian military. As the conflict continues, the reliance on such improvised solutions is likely to increase, further emphasizing the critical state of their logistical and supply chains. The true cost of war is measured not only in destroyed equipment but in human lives. While casualty figures remain notoriously difficult to verify, there is no doubt that the conflict in Ukraine has claimed tens of thousands of lives on both sides. The Ukrainian soldiers, fighting on familiar ground and defending their homeland, have also paid a heavy price. Behind every statistic lies a story of loss, grief, and shattered lives. The events of February 11th to 17th, 2025 may well mark a turning point in the Ukraine conflict. The scale of Russian losses, the exposure of their logistical vulnerabilities, and the growing effectiveness of Ukrainian tactics all point to a shift in the balance of power. Whether this shift will be enough to alter the course of the war remains to be seen. The Kremlin, despite its setbacks, has shown no sign of abandoning its ambitions in Ukraine. The coming weeks and months will be crucial in determining the ultimate outcome of this tragic and unnecessary conflict. Despite the staggering losses and the immense challenges they face, the Ukrainian people have shown remarkable resilience and determination. From the soldiers on the front lines to the volunteers supporting the war effort, Ukrainians have united in defense of their country, their freedom, and their way of life.